The average person's Roth IRA has about $106,000 in it. Maybe by the time you retire, the average moves up to $120,000 or $150,000. Doesn't look like much, right? But what if you can supercharge your Roth IRA and reach a $2.6 million portfolio by the time you retire? In this video, that's exactly what John's doing. We'll cover what a Roth IRA is, how it's different from a traditional one, and how to open it, plus the mistake that leaves most of this money just sitting in cash. Then, John picks 4 Fidelity index funds. He puts in the max Roth IRA allows, $7,500 a year, which is about $20 a day. And by the end, I'll show you how John's portfolio is projected to reach $2.6 million tax-free. But none of that works if you get the account wrong. So let's start there. What is a Roth IRA? A Roth IRA is simply a container. That's the whole thing. IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account. This isn't something your job hands you. It's not a 401k. Nobody sets it up for you. Nobody's matching anything. You go and get it yourself. And nobody's out there buying a Roth IRA. You open one, you put money in it, and then you buy stuff inside it. Same funds you could buy in any regular account. What changes is what happens on the way out. The money going in has already been taxed. Your paycheck got hit before you ever saw it, so the government's already been paid. They're done with you. Then it just sits there and grows for as long as you leave it alone. And when you start taking it out, the government doesn't touch a cent of it. Not the growth, not the dividends, nothing. You pay the tax once, at the front, and then never again. But there's a ceiling to how much you can invest. $7,500 per year max, which is about $20 a day. You can't sneak around that one either. Open a Roth at Fidelity, another at Vanguard, one more at Schwab. You still only get $7,500 across all three. The limit is attached to you, not the individual accounts. John opens his Roth IRA at Fidelity, 10 minutes on his phone in bed. So that's the box, but there's a second version of this account that does the exact opposite, and for some people, it's the better one. A traditional IRA hands you the tax break today, so money goes in tax-free. It comes off your taxable income this year, and you settle up with the IRS when you retire. The Roth obviously flips that around. You pay nothing later. So which one is best? Well, honestly, it comes down to a single question. Are you paying more tax today or in retirement? See, John is in his early 30s. He's not earning much yet, and his income's got nowhere to go but up, which means the tax he's paying right now is likely the cheapest tax he'll ever pay, and locking that in is basically the entire point of a Roth. Flip it around, though. Say you are in your peak earning years, top of your bracket, and you know you'll drop when you stop working. So in this situation, the traditional IRA's got a real case here. You take the break at your high tax rate and then pay the bill at your low one after you retire. Look, there's no right or wrong answer here, just two different situations. Let's talk Roth rules, because the tax-free part isn't automatic. There are 2 specific rules for getting the growth out clean, and you need both, not one or the other. First, you have to be 59 and a half. Second, the account has to have been open for 5 years. Neither one of those is about opening it, by the way. You can open a Roth at 22 years old. They're about taking money out of the Roth IRA. So say you start one at 58 years old and then retire at 60. Well, you've cleared the age, you're older than 59 and a half, but you haven't cleared the 5 years of the account being active. You'd have to wait. That doesn't mean you can't touch your money. Interestingly enough, anything you've contributed from your own pocket, you can take out whenever you want with a Roth IRA. Really, no penalty, no waiting. It's only the growth that's locked up, which is the part almost nobody knows. And one more thing, and this one only applies to the Roth. Earn too much, and you can't contribute to it. With a Roth, that line sits at $153,000 annually if you're single, $242,000 if you're married. And it doesn't slam shut, it closes slowly. The further past that line you go, the less you're allowed to put in. Go far enough, and it goes all the way down to zero. A traditional IRA has no line like that. It doesn't matter what you make. Now, there are ways around the Roth limits, but that's an entirely separate video. Okay, so the container is now sorted, but a container doesn't make you anything, it just decides who gets a cut of what's inside. So what goes in? Quick thing first, because the whole video runs on it. An index fund isn't a person. There's nobody in an office picking winners, reading earnings reports, making calls. An index is just a list, like the 500 biggest American companies, or every company on the NASDAQ, or the entire market. And an index fund buys the list, all of it, in whatever proportion the list says. That's the entire product. It's also why a company like Fidelity can charge nothing for one. There's no genius on the payroll. The fund's job is to copy a list, and copying a list is close to free. John's 4 assets in his Roth IRA are all index funds, 4 different lists. The first one is Fidelity Zero Total Market Index Fund. Zero means something here. That's what Fidelity charges you to own this thing. Not a small fee, not almost nothing, zero. FZROX is the entire U.S. stock market in one line, about 2,600 companies. The giants at the top, ones you've never heard of at the bottom, and everything in the middle. When you buy one share, you own a portion of all of them. And those companies pay you for owning them. When a business makes money, a lot of them send a slice back to shareholders, cash in your account, usually 4 times a year, whether you do anything or not. That is called a dividend. Yield is how much you get. Dividend growth is how much bigger that payment gets each year. And hang on to that because it's the whole back half of this video. FZROX pays a 0.92% dividend yield. It's grown that dividend at about 7.19% a year, and the share price has climbed 13.93% annually. For the second fund, John goes with FNCMX. FNCMX tracks the NASDAQ composite. This is the tech-heavy end of the market, the names you'd actually recognize. In fact, these names have basically carried the last 10 years on their back. Run the numbers, and the whole picture inverts. On this fund, the share price appreciation is 17.33% on average each year, the highest of the 4, clearly showing its growth-focused approach. As for the dividends, its dividend yield is 0.43%, the lowest. Dividend growth of 6.91%, also the lowest. It's a growth fund wearing an index fund's badge, which is completely fine as long as that's what you showed up for. So we're about halfway, 2 more funds to go, then I'll show you how these 4 funds in a Roth IRA are projected to reach a $2.6 million portfolio valuation. Next fund on John's list is Fidelity U.S. Sustainability Index, FITLX. You won't find this on a best Roth IRA funds list, which is sort of the point. It tracks American companies that score well on environmental and governance measures, which sounds like a values thing, and it is one, but that's not why it's sitting here. Here's what's interesting. FITLX has been growing its dividend at 15.42% a year. That's more than double what the total market fund manages. The yield is at 1.01%, appreciation at 13.97%, basically shoulder to shoulder with FZROX. So you're getting total market growth with a dividend compounding twice as fast underneath it. Now, every fund so far has been American, which means every dollar John owns is riding on one country. So next, John goes outside the U.S., and the fund he lands on is the Fidelity Total International Index Fund. FTIHX is the rest of the planet in a single fund. Around 5,100 companies, developed markets, and emerging ones everywhere except the United States. We're talking about Germany, Japan, Taiwan, Brazil. If it's a real stock market, it's in there. And the numbers run the other way completely. Highest yield of the four at 2.48%, lowest appreciation of the four at 6.97%, under half of what the NASDAQ fund's been doing. That's not a bad fund, it just ran into a decade where America beat everything on Earth. Owning the rest of the world during the one stretch the rest of the world lost is simply bad timing, not a bad decision. One last thing, and it only applies to this one. Foreign governments take a small cut of those dividends before the money ever reaches you. In a normal brokerage account, you'd claim that back at tax time. However, in a Roth, there's no tax bill for it to come off of, so it's just gone. About 0.3% a year, every year. Okay, so John's got his 4 index funds for the Roth. He's got somewhere to put them. But there's one step between those two things that most people get wrong without ever noticing. So how does this actually happen? Pick a provider, Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard. It's free, there's no minimum, and it takes about 10 minutes. In John's case, it's Fidelity. Move money in, bank transfer, same as anything else you've ever done. And then here's the step that some people actually miss. Your money is now sitting in that account doing absolutely nothing. It's not invested yet. It's cash. And it will sit there for years if you let it, earning whatever the default holding pays while you walk around thinking that you're in the market. Fidelity actually has an entire page on their own site about this. It's called Remember to Invest the Assets in Your IRA. They wrote a whole article about it, which tells you how often this happens. So be sure to buy the funds, then set a recurring transfer so next month takes care of itself. And with that, John's done all of it, which now leaves the split. Equal weights, 25% into each of the 4. Put all 4 together, and the portfolio metrics come to a 1.22% dividend yield, 11.63% dividend growth, and 13.05% annual appreciation. Now let's see what the projections show for this portfolio. John's putting in the most a Roth IRA lets him, $7,500 a year, which is about $20 a day. So at the end of year 1, his balance will be what he contributed, $7,500. By year 10, it's projected to reach $146,214. Year 20, $689,088, and by year 30, John's account is projected to sit at $2,678,144. He put in $225,000 of that. The other $2,453,144 was added by the funds. Of that $2.45 million, $2,298,869 came from share prices climbing, and $154,275 came from dividends. The dividends did about 6% of the work. Then there's the income. That portfolio is projected to pay John $18,836 a year, or $1,570 a month. Tax-free. All of it. And here's what that actually means. John isn't selling anything to get that $1,570. The shares stay exactly where they are. The companies pay, the payment grows, and the account keeps compounding underneath the entire time. He's living on what the portfolio makes, not on the portfolio itself. So that's what $20 a day does. But $20 a day was never your choice, it was the ceiling. The Roth caps you there. So let's take the cap off. Same idea, no limit. $1,000 a month, around $33 a day. The 3 best index funds over 30 years. That portfolio is projected to reach $4 million and pay over $5,000 a month. Want to know more? Check it out. That video's on screen right now.